Hello, welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are looking at the week of Monday, April 14th to Sunday, April 20th in 2025. So thank you so much for being here. Welcome if you were new. Welcome back if you've been here before. And I'll explain a little bit about the way the format goes. I will talk about the astrology for this week, and then we're going to be looking at the 7 cards in the tarot. I'm using the Crow deck, and then we will finish with the Crystal Angels Oracle card. As always, in these readings for the general public, please take what resonates for you and leave the rest behind. Always developing your own intuition about what is right for you and letting the rest go. Okay, so astrologically this week we begin with the moon in Scorpio. We had ended, of course, the last week, that Sunday in Scorpio, and then it carries over to this Monday. And that's water, it's intuition, it's psychic ability, it's death, it's taxes, it's debts, all kinds of things. But a really deep discernment is part of that. It can be obsessive. That can be the dark side. Then we'll move into Sagittarius, fire, travel, adventure, higher mind, higher learning, foreign relations, that kind of thing. Then it goes into Capricorn, an earth sign. So we're going water, fire, earth, and then we'll come to air. That's the way it goes. So in Capricorn, executive decisions, structures, getting things done, building in a solid way. And then we end with Aquarius. So that'll be by next Sunday. We're moon in Aquarius, and that's a humanitarian, the way out there thinker, borderline genius, crazy kind of energy, but definitely concerned with the human condition. Oops, excuse me. And wanting people to, collectively be in a better place. All right, so some other things this week. Mercury will be moving from Pisces into Aries on Wednesday, I believe it is. And, when it's in Pisces, communications are fuzzier, thinking is fuzzier. There's that kind of blending all quality to Pisces. And Aries, well, we reset the clock. It's the individual, it's the beginning, it's brash, it's out there, it's, charging forward with adventure. So, think about that while it's in there about 3 weeks or so. You want to be a little bit mindful about what you are saying and not say the first thing maybe that comes, to mind, because there is that Aries impulsive kind of energy too. So we still have Venus in Pisces, and that will stay there until around the April 30th. And Venus loves being in Pisces. It's very empathic. It's very loving, very kind, very imaginative. The only thing to kind of keep in mind there is that it can also be seeing what is not real, but what you really want to see. So, just keep that in mind. But it's a beautifully creative and kind, connecting kind of energy. We also have a couple of movements this week that are important, and one is that the sun will be moving into Taurus this week. So we're going from the Aries fire energy, the kind of I got to be there first, that Aries has, which can be very sweet and innocent too. And, you go from kind of the infant to the toddler in Taurus, and this is an earth sign, so we move from fire to earth and nurturing, and it's great, of course, for the garden season here in the Northern Hemisphere. And you know, the downside of that can, you know, we can be kind of stubborn, but there's a real groundedness and sensuality that comes with that sun moving into Taurus. We have Mars moving to Leo on the 18th, which is a dear friend's birthday. Um, and Mars will be much happier in Leo than it's been in Cancer. Cancer's water, Mars rules Aries. It's about the fire. So when it goes to Leo, it's another fire sign. So there's a good, passionate, expressive energy to that. Good for romance, good for children, good for drama. And Saturn stays in Pisces. That'll be a while longer, so that can be giving structure to our spiritual aspirations, our spiritual self, making perhaps that a little bit more grounded and real for you or anyone. And you know, Uranus rather is still in Taurus, and Jupiter in Gemini, and those will, you know, be there a while longer. So that part's still stable. And then we also have, as a last aspect here, Venus sextiling Uranus on April 20th. So that's our Sunday. And this is a kind of energy that can encourage us to take risks, to embrace the new and the unusual, to be experimental. But it's not necessarily a great energy for commitment. So just, you know, kind of watch that. Venus can be a little fickle, and Uranus is just about, you know, sudden, that lightning bolt kind of energy of change. So, you know, when they're in sextile, it's a good flow of energy, and they're working together, but you know, you want to keep in mind that's not the most stable of things to happen. All right, so with the cards, as I mentioned, we're doing the Crow deck this week, and we have three majors. We have some air energy, we have some water energy, and we have some fire energy. Definitely the three majors stand out to me, and one begins the week, and that is the Fool. So I always think of Humpty Dumpty with this kind of energy. Of course, in the Crow deck, the crows are representing, yeah, people in a sense, our human tendencies. And this is the opening, the beginning, the holistic self that will, you know, eventually become fragmented, and the journey is to put the self, you know, whole again. And you know, it's initiation. Also, it's being ready to go on a journey without bias. There isn't bias here. There's a lot to be learned. So some kind of new start on Monday. Tuesday, we jump right to another major, which is strength, number 8. And then we also have an 8 at the end of the week. Frequently, depictions of this card in various tarot decks will show a lion like it does here. Of course, our lion has roses, has the crow sitting on top of almost like, it's like a yawn. This does not seem to be a roaring beast, but one that has been tamed. And the concept with this one is, what is it that frightens us about our own selves? Parts of us that we don't want to claim, acknowledge, even to our own selves. It's like, oh, maybe I should be ashamed of that, or maybe that's not manly or, you know, womanlike, or whatever it might be. It doesn't fit me. But those are parts of the self that need to be honored and acknowledged and integrated to make us more whole, which is part of our strength. Wednesday, we move into the Queen of Swords. So here we have air, intellect, thoughts, communication, verbalization, and she is, you know, has mastery in this area. It's softened because it is a queen, so there's some feminine to this masculine energy. And, you know, to me, that can be using your words wisely. Use them with discernment. Don't be too quick to, you know, cut people up, cut ideas up, cut people off, things like that. But to listen and integrate and take all of that into consideration before, you know, making judgments or taking actions, things like that. We get our third and final major for this week in the Tower. This is a 16 card, which, in numerology would reduce to a 7. So it's going to have some associations with the Chariot, preparing or actually moving forward, either preparing to move forward or being ready to move forward. And here, it's almost like you've done enough spiritual work that there needs to be a shakeup. Let the tower fall, let things go, and see what is released. And, I mentioned Uranus when we were talking about the astrology. Not, like I said, a big change there, except for that Venus-Uranus sextile at the end of the week. But here you do have that Uranus lightning bolt. It breaks up in the tower, and all these crows are flying around. So that could be new ideas, new people you meet, a shaking up. I think that can be very beneficial. Does not have to be scary. Does not have to be in any way a negative, but actually a very positive of releasing from the past and moving forward to something better. There may be, because this follows it, the Five of Cups, a little bit of, what's the word, melancholy, a little nostalgia about that. The very way that this particular crow hangs his or her head, its head, makes me think of that. It's like, oh, okay, was this a bad thing? Possibly. I don't think so. And almost always, in decks with this card, you will see a focus on the 3 tipped cups. Contents are lost. Maybe dreams have spilled, gone away, whatever, but there's always the other 2. And I connect those to the Lovers, the 2 of Cups. Not the Lovers and the majors, but that love card of the 2 of Cups. So there's really something to be looked at, look forward to. Don't focus on what might be lost, but what is the good of what is left? Where is the love? Where is the creativity of that? So that was our Friday. Saturday, it's time to put down some burdens. It's the 10 of Wands, and we see our poor crow here struggling to get aloft with this bundle of 10 wrapped in our red strap. So you can be on either side of this. Either like, oh my goodness, I'm just recognizing I've picked up too many burdens, or, oh wow, I know I haven't. It's time to let this go. So just consider that energy. Are you carrying too much energetically? Would it be better for you to let some of it go? Generally, I think that's true for most people. We gather a lot. I suspect a lot of you are empaths. You're absorbing energy. You're introverted. And we really do need to do some dumps sometimes. So between that Tower energy and then this more minor card of the 10 of Wands, let go of something, or a number of things this week, and lighten your load. We end with another wand, and that is the 8 of Wands. And I find this such a happy card. I love the rose, or I guess they're poppies more so, I think. Poppies, and then you got your sunflowers. And this can be a very romantic card, a very passionate card, a very creative card. And remember, we had that 8, the strength in the major, so this is going to be connected to it. 8 of Wands, and with the lion, that calls up kind of that energy of fire, connected to Leo. And here, it's almost like Cupid comes calling, or I prefer Eros. Eros is the more mature version of that, sending out that energy that's like, hey, what's going on? Maybe we should connect, that sort of thing. So I think there's something really sweet and fun about this for the end of the week, our Sunday. So overall, the 3 majors to me indicate that there is some kind of creativity and bounty to be had from the week. Be open to what that might be. And like as I mentioned earlier, we have fire, we have water, we have air, we do not have earth. So be grounded and be looking forward to that movement of the sun into Taurus at the end of the week. All right, so now we will finish with our oracle card from the Crystal Angels. And I don't even think I've ever drawn this one before. So it's about the titanium rainbow quartz. I think it's a very pretty card. And I'll just read from the book, which it's a Doreen Virtue. I know there's some, there was the prior Doreen Virtue and then the one who happened later, but this is from the earlier one. So the subtitle is multifaceted. The person or situation that you're asking about is multifaceted like a gemstone, a cut gemstone. That means that there are many different sides to consider. There isn't one plain truth here, but several, which could create contradictions, inconsistencies, and confusion. You'll need to be honest with yourself about whether these differences are acceptable or upsetting to you. And oh my goodness, I feel like that is such a theme this year. How are we responding to the information? I mean, millions and millions of us are getting the same information. What do we do with that? Where do we take it? How do we internalize it? How do we externalize it? If you're asking about a certain person, this card is a sign of a complicated and unpredictable relationship. Some may consider this exciting, while others find it to contain too much drama. I really feel like that's our political scene in America right now. Way too much drama for this person anyway. Most people have layers to them, and as long as the other person is behaving ethically, that's been an issue, right? And with integrity, you may benefit from this relationship. Again, it's a matter of being honest about your likes and dislikes. If your question is about a specific situation, well, it's about our week, essentially. This card is a sign that there's no single right answer. And, that makes me go right back to your own intuition, knowing you, knowing what resonates with you and what does not. Sometimes this is because free will choices are currently shaping the outcome and nothing has been predetermined. In some cases, this card means that it's up for interpretation whether or not this is a positive situation according to individual tastes and preferences. I think that is absolutely where we are collectively. Are we going to be beaten down by all the bad news? I mean, it is not a good situation out there. But what can we do internally to work with this and not bring our own energy down, which again is just dragging everybody, the whole collective, the whole family down. Staying in a higher vibration will help lift us all. So, all in all, being comfortable with ambiguity in an undetermined future is an opportunity for you to be the director of your own unfolding movie masterpiece. You were made in the image and likeness of the Creator, so you can create a wonderful present and future. And I just love that message. I think that is exactly right and where we are. So, beloveds, thank you again so much for being here. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you spending your time. And please like, share, subscribe. I would like to grow this channel. There'll be a point in time when I really retire from teaching and can do more with this, but that's not quite yet. But I'm wishing you the best possible 7 days. And if you're interested in a personal reading, there'll be information below in the description box and at the end of the video. Otherwise, I see you in 7 days.